Kinda cool, huh? What is up, graphic designer friends? You know, that's actually tip number 1. Get yourself a beanie and wear it on the very tip of your head. That's the only way you can become a true master and respect the craft. But anyway, over the last year, I created dozens of different graphic design projects, starting with some fun art for basketball teams and arm wrestling events, and ending up with the hundreds of YouTube thumbnails for different creators. In this video, I want to share with you some tips that I regret not knowing sooner about the graphic design, and I'll set myself a challenge to cover those 5 tips under 3 minutes. So let's keep it short and to the point. I personally do 99% of my graphic design projects in Photoshop, but 4 out of those 5 tips will be applicable for any software you're using. So let's start the timer and let's waste no more time. Tip number 1, don't reinvent the wheel. Look, chances are high that whatever request you have from your boss and from your clients, somebody on internet already made a design similar to this. Now, I'm not saying that you need to completely steal the idea, but the least you can do is to get inspired by it. And then you actually can start working on the project rather than sitting in front of the blank canvas and just thinking for hours what to do. One of the best resources out there is Pinterest, and here are the few keywords that can help you to find killer ideas. Soccer poster, brutalism poster, typography poster, and minimalism poster. Obviously, you can choose the way when you're trying to be fully creative every time and complete everything from the scratch, but if you value your time and effort, just use the resources. Tip number 2, don't overthink the font. There are tons of memes on the internet that graphic designers are spending hours choosing the right font for the project. But it doesn't really have to be that way. Just choose few of the fonts and make them your base and basically use them from project to project. I would recommend to start with Montserrat, Poppins, Helvetica, Gotham, and Futura. I personally try to keep all the other fonts situational and use them seldomly. If you are working on the flyer, you can keep everything in simple fonts as we just discussed and maybe choose the fancier font for the event title. You're gonna spend hours of your time if you're gonna look for perfect font every time you're doing stuff, which actually leads us to the tip number 3. Progress over perfection. And there's such a good quote I heard recently about that. It goes something like, the imperfect project you actually finish is worth more than the perfect project that's actually never getting done. And this is such a big thing, especially in the creative place where people work with photo and video editing. We tend to put ourselves in the mindset that our projects are not perfect, and then we work on changes again and again and again to make them perfect. And eventually that perfectionism takes so much time that we are able to do only one project in a month, let's say. And other people are doing like one project every other day, so they're actually mastering the craft and getting feedback regarding their work. So it's pretty clear who's gonna win in the long term. Tip number 4. Set boundaries and expectations with your clients. Now, obviously, it's probably not gonna work if you have a boss that stands on top of you, but there are a lot of freelancers and self-employed people in this niche, so that's definitely gonna work for them. When you are just starting out, it's totally understandable that you want to fit your client best, and pretty much every client becomes tolerable. However, when you are becoming more proficient at your craft, it's crucial to set expectations and boundaries with your client if you want to stay profitable and still enjoy what you're doing. If you're not gonna say that only 3 changes are allowed and everything else will be billable, don't be surprised when the client comes back to you and asks you to change everything. Same story with the fonts, color, everything else. Discuss those small details with the client prior to doing the work. That way, after you submit your draft, you're not gonna hear, oh, we actually have standard fonts and colors that we wanted you to use, so please redo everything. And lastly, with tip number 5, we have the tip that will be directed towards Photoshop users. There is one cool feature that can help you to spice up your projects and make it pop, like a lot of clients would say. I'm talking about gradient maps, and here how it works. After you throw your initial layout and the majority of the elements into the canvas, go to add the layer and add gradient map. After that, go to gradient settings. I have Chrome Fusion preset right here I got from some creator on Instagram, and I just start playing with different options and see how they look on the overall design. They can help you to balance the lighting and just make your entire projects more consistent. Afterwards, you can choose between different blend modes, which will give you even broader variety of options. And bam, we made it on time.
Oh no, he didn't.
Graphic design is a journey, and there are dozens more tips and tricks that can help you to become better at it. But these were 5 things that kinda served me as a breakthrough along the way. Let me know in the comments about other graphic design tips I missed, but if you enjoyed this video or found it useful in any way, I would really appreciate if you leave a like and a comment and subscribe to the channel. It will help me tremendously, and I'll see you in the next one.